Wow, this is a breaking news alert. The United States Senate is now officially shutting down. Majority Leader Senator John Thune just held a meeting with Republicans, and he's saying he's canceling all further votes in the United States Senate until at least early June, after Memorial Day, the earliest. We're also hearing the same thing is now taking place in the House of Representatives. MAGA Mike Johnson was supposed to have a meeting with Donald Trump at the White House in just an hour or so. That got canceled. There is complete and utter chaos right now. We expect the House of Representatives to be shut down as well soon until at least early June, maybe later. This was a week where they were supposed to pass their reconciliation bill, where they wanted to fund ICE and Border Patrol, and Donald Trump was demanding $1 billion for his golden ballroom to be put in that reconciliation bill, which the Senate parliamentarian rejected. I reported on that yesterday. And then earlier today, then Donald Trump created this $1.776 billion slush fund for January 6 insurrectionists, where Donald Trump then gave himself a waiver of all IRS audits about Donald Trump, the Trump organization, as well as Trump family members. And so there was a meeting that was just held before the Senate shut down moments ago, where you had Donald Trump's acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, and apparently there was lots of screaming taking place. A nearly 2-hour meeting with acting attorney general Todd Blanche took place with Senate Republicans. It was incredibly hostile. Apparently, you had Blanche yelling at senators, "We need the slush fund. Donald Trump demands the slush funds." And senators saying, "We're supposed to pass the reconciliation bill this week on ICE and Border Patrol. Isn't that what he wants?" And Blanche's like, "No, he wants the slush fund. He wants the golden ballroom." And Senator Thune and these Republicans are like, and he's out there just crushing Republicans at this point. He passed over Senator Cornyn of Texas to endorse Paxton. You're going to destroy our chance to have a majority in the Senate. Like, Trump attacks Republican senators one by one. Andrew Desiderio, who does reporting on the Hill for Punchbowl, he said he just got a text from GOP senators saying, "Our majority is melting down before our eyes because of Donald Trump." And he's brought this upon himself by attacking GOP senators. More from Desiderio here. He said in this 2-hour meeting with acting attorney general Todd Blanche, as many as 25 GOP senators spoke, which is very rare for these meetings, all in opposition to this weaponization fund, this $1.776 billion fund for January 6 insurrectionists that Donald Trump and his personal attorney, who's now the acting AG, Todd Blanche, want to dole out. What else do we know? That this MAGA Mike Johnson meeting was canceled. We're also hearing from Lisa Murkowski, and she put out a statement as well, saying just how bad things have gotten. I'll share with you Lisa Murkowski's statement in a moment. The White House dropped a bomb in the middle of a pretty well planned out reconciliation to deliver on what we thought were Donald Trump's priorities. Laura Weiss reports there's a lot of frustration among Senate Republicans with the administration over this weaponization fund and the decision to settle and announce this right in the middle of the week to pass the reconciliation bill. You also have Senator Cassidy of Louisiana, who Donald Trump attacked by endorsing his primary opponent. Senator Cassidy from Louisiana is out. Senator Cornyn was passed over as Donald Trump endorsed the very corrupt and impeached Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton. And so Donald Trump was just asked in the Oval Office, "Are you losing control of the Senate right now, Donald?" Watch what he says. Play this clip.
Are you losing control of the Senate Republicans?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can tell you, I only do what's right. I don't need money for the ballroom. I'm making a gift of the ballroom. This is the biggest misreporting that I've ever seen. The ballroom is being built. It'll cost. It was going to be $200 million. I've doubled the size of it because we need it, and it's being done in conjunction with the military and with the very much in conjunction with the military and Secret Service.
And then shortly thereafter, he fell asleep. Here, play this clip.
Over $2.4 billion for American families. It's safeguarding
And then he was asked, well, what if Congress doesn't sign off on the Golden Ballroom money? They're against the Golden Ballroom money. The Senate passed a war powers resolution blocking your unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran. And they're against your $1.776 billion slush fund. So what happens if they don't approve the $1 billion for your Golden Ballroom, which they're withholding? Watch what Donald Trump says. Play this clip.
During the White House, I think it would be very, very much a good expenditure, but the ballroom is being built.
But what if Congress doesn't sign off on the security money, sir?
Then the White House won't be a very secure place.
But
I want to bring a Democratic Congress member, Seth Magaziner, Congress member from Rhode Island, to ask him about these developments as I think once again, Congress shutting down, Donald Trump creating all of this chaos. Congressman Magaziner, great to see you. What do you make of all of this that's going on right now?
Well, this is a major self-own by President Trump and his political operation. They have been going on this revenge tour against Republicans, right? Against Republicans who Trump deems insufficiently loyal. And now, as a result, like some of those same Republicans who Trump has gone after are basically saying, like, screw you, we're not going to do what you want us to do anymore. And you know, it's not just John Cornyn. You mentioned John Cornyn. Trump comes out and endorses the other Republican in the race for Texas Senate. Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, you know, just lost his primary against Trump-backed opponents. And then there's a few House members, too, where the same thing is about to happen. And so, yeah, it's not that they finally grew a spine on their own. It's because, you know, Trump came after these Republicans, and now these Republicans are starting to rebel. They don't like the slush fund, as none of us do, you know, the slush fund for January 6th terrorists. They don't like the Golden Ballroom. And, you know, Trump had set this artificial deadline for he wanted more ICE funding by June 1st. And, you know, I think what you're seeing today is the Senate Republicans are just saying, like, you know, screw you. Like, you keep throwing our members under the bus. You keep coming after Republicans in good standing. And so we don't care about your deadline anymore. And it's only going to get more chaotic from here because Trump's Trump. He's not going to stop. Now he's attacking Lauren Boebert for not being loyal enough. I mean, he's continuing to lash out against other Republicans. And I think we're going to have even more of this kind of chaos as the year goes on. I wish that they would spend this much time and energy and effort at the White House figuring out how to fix healthcare or lower costs or get out of this war in Iran. But of course, you know, Trump only cares about revenge and trophies and nothing else at this point.
Right, you have the Fox host Jackie Heinrich, who's with Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican Congress member from Pennsylvania. They engaged or married to each other. And when she was interviewing Trump or she would ask questions, he would always basically say, you know, your husband this, your husband that, you know, you've got a bad husband, you know, on that, you know, against Congress member Fitzpatrick. So you see it kind of seething, deeply personal, and he's just going after everybody. And meanwhile, though, to get back to your point versus that kind of inner drama, the American people are absolutely, you know, suffering. And you and I, you know, every month or so check in with each other and we do these interviews. And it just seems it's gotten so much worse. More lies about Iran. I mean, wasn't it last month? Iran was going to be destroyed in 3 days. Strait of Hormuz would be open. Then that same thing in March. And what are you seeing, though? It's the corruption at a level that we haven't seen. And then the American people are just suffering right now.
Yeah, I mean, like the president is completely out of touch. Like we know this, right? Like he has no concern for the well-being of everyday people. He cares about his vanity projects, his ballroom and his arch. He cares about trying to get revenge against people who he thinks have wronged him. It used to be Democrats, now it's Republicans as well. And meanwhile, the average American out there who's struggling to pay their bills, who's paying $4.50 a gallon or more, you know, to put gas in the tank, it has had it. And so, you know, I do think we're at a turning point here. Like the American people are realizing that the emperor has no clothes, that, you know, Trump has no concern at all for the well-being of the American people. Democrats are going to win the midterm. We are going to win this thing big. And, you know, Republicans now are starting to rebel because they've had it too. So the chaos on the Republican side cannot be overstated.
Talk to us about MAGA Mike Johnson, though, because he still will do anything that Trump says, to do. And, he's trying to work every angle to and he has, while he's been in charge or Trump's been in charge and he's been the proxy, to turn Congress basically into the Russian Duma. But there he is. There's not a thing that Donald Trump can't do, that this weak, pathetic thing. I don't even know what to call MAGA Mike Johnson. I mean, he's like a bizarre, weird creature thing. Like, what do you make of everything that he's doing right now?
Yeah, like Mike Johnson thinks that his job is to serve Donald Trump, like 100%. But he's going to have a problem because it started with Tom Massey, right? Tom Massey, the Trump machine came after him. Massey lost his primary. If you think that Massey voted against the Republicans a lot before his primary, like you ain't seen nothing yet. But there's more Tom Masseys out there. There are more incumbent House Republicans who are running for state office or running for Senate or whatever that Trump is already attacking. And once those people lose, and most of them probably will lose their primaries, then they're not going to give a shit anymore either. And so it doesn't get better from here for Mike Johnson. Like it doesn't. And, again, like I'm not, I don't want to make it seem like I'm happy about this state of affairs. Like, I want government to work, but at the end of the day, this crew who's running the place can't get their act together.
Right. You talk about these cell phones, and I wonder how much Donald Trump's disastrous trip to China has played into this all, because, we know the American people are focused on a lot. I mean, obviously they're focused on gas prices, affordability, the suffering that they are experiencing, but perhaps some of the day-to-day kind of interdrama, the sheer craziness of Donald Trump, what he's posting, what he's saying, that gets sanitized in kind of corporate news. Not kind of, it gets very sanitized. But then there are certain moments where people kind of tune back in. Seeing Trump's deranged behavior at a State of the Union, for example, seeing Donald Trump deliver a national address, and people are like, whoa, this guy's not right. Everybody kind of sees it. And then he's been talking about this China trip. And I think people saw the United States of American president bowing down and showing utter weakness to the Chinese president and returning with nothing, and then behaving so obsequious and subservient. And it was, I think, very jarring. And I think it was also one of these moments where it's like, what's happened to the United States of America, where you're out there looking so weak in a foreign country and returning and pretending you're strong, and everyone's like, nah. So I wonder how much that also plays into what's being seen in the Senate and the House and in America in general right now.
I think that's absolutely part of it. And by the way, I think a sleeper issue that people are going to start talking about in Congress a lot in the next few weeks is Trump selling these advanced AI chips to China, or letting NVIDIA sell them to China. I've talked with Republicans who are just ripshit over this, who are so upset. They think of themselves as being China hawks, and they don't like. There is no good reason that we should allow these chips, which was one of our biggest geopolitical advantages that we have left, to be sold to the Chinese. And I think that there's going to be a Republican rebellion in Congress on that issue too. But, taking a step back to like your question about like voters, what I find is this: as you know, like I come from more of a purple district. Like I don't come from a deep blue district. Trump got 48% in my district, something like that. When I talk to the average voter back home, a lot of times they say, I don't know what to believe. I watch, Midas, or I watch, like some like more liberal leaning outlet, and I see one thing. I watch a right wing outlet, I see another thing. I don't know what's true anymore. But what people do know is what their bank account looks like. No politician, not Donald Trump or anyone else, can spin someone on how much money is in that bank account, right? And so people can see that. They can see that they are worse off because of high gas prices, because of the tariffs, because the president cares more about ballrooms than he does about making life better for people. And like that's why there's going to be just a blue wave when we get to November. I have no doubt about it.
Right. And by the way, it's why, one of the most important things when I built this network, the catchphrase is play the clip. Just listen to it. Listen to what he says. Look at what the document, just let that do the talking versus kind of the yelling and the shouting. I want to go talk though about these AI chips, the H200 from NVIDIA, for example. What I found fascinating though too, talking about weakness, is Donald Trump offered it, but China hasn't bought one yet. And, one of the things though about that is we gave those same H200s to UAE at the same time Trump did a deal with the UAE for them to personally, where they put money into World Liberty Financial. And so, once you have the technology of the H200, what China showed is that it could reverse engineer this technology for its own companies there. So I also wonder if at this point it's doubly weak because we're like, take our chips. And they're like, man, maybe we need one. Why would we need a lot of them? Well, and also, we've got the technology already because you gave it to our other allies because you have no clue about geopoliticals, what's going on.
I think you're right about that. I think there's a good chance, that China got access to this technology through the UAE anyway, and we shouldn't have been allowing the sale of these chips, honestly, to anyone that can't be trusted. But I sit on the cybersecurity subcommittee in the Homeland Security Committee in the House, and I had a major financial institution, a major bank in my office yesterday. I'm not going to say which one, and they have been experimenting with Mythos, with this new AI technology from Anthropic. And they said, we have some of the smartest cybersecurity people in the world who work for us, people who've worked at the NSA, people who've worked at Cyber Command. And these really smart people will find one or two critical flaws in our system a year on average. And this Mythos system found 3,000 in a month. The system is so powerful and so dangerous. And when you talk about China, they have more people than we do. They can produce more energy eventually than we can. The one advantage we have is that our chips are more technologically advanced. That is the one advantage we have in the cyber domain. And the fact that Trump would compromise that for a quick buck for a friend of his is just absolutely unconscionable, and it is yet another example of how unfit he is to lead.
Right. And so as you talk about Congress, essentially, I guess, again, when it comes to this reconciliation bill or anything, Senate's gone. We'll see what happens on the House side. There's a lot of drama, of course, kind of playing out, inside Capitol Hill, by MAGA Mike this and John Thune that. But again, let's leave it with this: that the American people are suffering. What do you want the American people to know right now, though? As we head into Memorial Day, as we head into summer, and the Strait of Hormuz is not open, and gas prices are very high, and mortgage rates are 7%, and people have this existential dread.
What I want the American people to know is that you deserve better, and it doesn't have to be like this. And I'm working with House Democrats led by Hakeem Jeffries. We are going to be releasing a plan for the American people in the next couple months, our version of a contract for America, so to speak, that is going to include a real specific agenda for how we're going to make people's lives more affordable, lower the cost of housing, of food, lower the cost of childcare and elder care, a plan to improve healthcare and lower healthcare costs, and perhaps most importantly, a plan to really address the corruption that is at the root of the reason of the ways that the American people are just being screwed over by these big corporations and oligarchs. Corruption in the White House, corruption in Congress, corruption in the Supreme Court. So, I think what I want the American people to know is that you deserve better than what you're getting right now. It doesn't have to be like this. And that House Democrats and I realize that we're not going to win anything by just being anti-Trump. We need to present a better alternative. And in the coming months, you're going to start to see what that alternative is. It'll be along the lines of what I just described. And I am determined to do my part to make sure that we not only get elected, but get that done come November.
Congressman Magaziner, thanks for all your time.
Thank you.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MidasPlus.com.